deepen.com, Hing.fm, and UpSnap Mobile.
Contact Talk Radio.
Welcome to Life Mastery with Todd Allen, the talk radio show that dives into the science of higher consciousness. Join Todd and his guests weekly at 10 a.m. Pacific Time and learn how to live a peaceful life with intentional mastery. Enjoy a survey of inspiring topics such as abundance, intention, health, manifestation, love, and transformation. It's all right here. Leading authors, speakers, coaches, entrepreneurs with stories and messages to support your well-being, let alone your most evocative dreams.
Hey, it's another groovy day, and most of you already know, but I'll tell you anyway. That's because I make it that way. When I get up in the morning, I decide it's going to be a groovy day. I put my feet on the ground, and the rest of the day is groovy. Something might happen, but I always think back when I started, and I turn it into a groovy thing, whether it's in my control or not. As always, I like to get myself centered and situated and sorted out before the show. We have a great topic for you today, sound healing, and we're going to be talking to an expert. It's going to be really cool. But before we do that, let's take a minute and think about what it is that you connect to. What is it that you connect? It could be God, it could be Allah, it could be the dude, it could be the tree outside your window, the door handle that opens the door to the world, anything. Let's focus on that for a minute and let's take in a deep breath. And let that breath out just to and let your essence flow up through your speaker box, out of your speaker box, out into the universe. Talk about some serious sound. That's some resonation, I'm telling you. Let's do that one more time. Taking a deep breath, but this time think about your dreams, visions, and goals. What is it that you aspire to be, do, or have? Anchor that in your mind. Taking a deep breath. And let out another big and let it flow up through your heart center, throat chakra, speaker box, and out into the universe. And here's the deal now. Make sure you provide the universe the opportunity to make those come true for you, because it will happen if that's what you do. Hi, Jackie.
Hello.
As always, I have my co-host with me today riding shotgun, or she's the driver and I'm riding shot. Either way, it doesn't matter. Hi, Jackie. How are you today, my friend?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm doing well, actually.
I see the turtle enclosures right behind you. G is for not a turtle. Todd, get it right. It's a tortoise.
It's a redfoot tortoise, and she has this magnificent enclosure, which is now in my public speaking studio. Because we now live just, I don't know, 20 steps away down the street here. But this enclosure was too big to fit into the apartment that we're living in. So it is here now. And she's been a little stressed out because of the move. She was, reptiles, they get really used to specific environments.
Oh, yeah.
And when you shake things up, they get a little bit stressed out. And so she's eaten a little bit, but she hasn't eaten as much as she normally does in the last week.
It's a different environment.
Yesterday, she was out a little bit and wandering around. So I think she's sort of coming out of her shell. Pun intended.
My favorite saying, and I always use this in Toastmasters for the thought of the day, is, behold, we'll use tortoise. Behold the tortoise. She never makes any progress until she sticks her neck out.
That's right.
I love that. I always use that. How are things with the Speak Feed Lead project?
We are offering lots of classes. We're offering opportunities for our students to be authors of a chapter in a compilation book. Schools have started. If they didn't start last week, then many of them are starting this week. And I'm telling you, parents are both excited and stressed out. And here's what I'm hearing from the kids about schools, is that they are piling more and more work on them this year to make up
Lots to catch
for
up with.
last year. And so everybody's really tentative about what do I want to get my kids involved in. And I was telling one parent this morning, I said, you know what? We often think of we think of extras as sometimes can be challenging, can be overwhelming at times. We don't want to get our kids involved in too many things. So what I told her is that public speaking and communication empowerment is not like an art class. It's not like taking, soccer after school. These skills matter for their whole life. And I think sometimes we as parents can project our worries and our concerns and the stress we're feeling
Totally.
onto our kids. And I think when you tell a kid or you allow them to overhear you saying, it's just too much, you can't do it all, it's just too much, then we actually disempower them. And we say, you're not capable. You're not capable of handling life. And I think that can be a bad thing. So,
I know that
parents, you need to be careful about what you're projecting onto your kids. And if they are excited about something and if there is value in something they want to do, I think it's good to try as much as you can to allow them to do that. But don't ever say, it's too much, you can't handle it, because then they won't be able to handle other things. Anyway, that's my little lesson for today.
Just a quick story. I can remember my middle daughter. I had 3 daughters. I have 3 daughters. And I kind of got her convinced to play baseball. Actually, it was softball, girls softball. And it was kind of fun for the first couple of practices. And then they put her on first base and somebody threw her the ball, not really hard, but she had her mitt up and it missed her mitt and popped her right in the eye. That was it.
She didn't want to play anymore, huh?
So I don't know if she was doing it because I thought that she should do it, or if she thought it would be cool. I don't exactly know or remember back then, but that was it. It was all done. Next.
Well, you and I have had lots of guests on the show that have talked about how we pretty much get damaged as kids,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that the parents are trying to do that, but we misinterpret things all the time as children because we download everything and we can't kick anything out. There's no delete button. So everything goes in as truth and as real information. And so when that ball's coming at you and it slips off the glove and hits you in the face, right now you've just learned balls are bad, they're dangerous, they're scary, they're going to hurt, and I'm never going to do that again. Yeah, and it's like that with all of our experiences. So, like I said, if you tell somebody that they're not strong enough to handle the situation that they're in, then they're going to grow up believing that's the truth. And it's
what's another big one that I've thought about and have been taught about is lying. Right? We teach our kids that little lies are okay all the time. And then they grow up thinking, perfect example of that is Santa Claus, right? How long do we try and keep that going? And then, or dad stops at the ice cream store on the way home from the grocery store and mom sees a little bit of ice cream and it's like, did you guys get ice cream? Nope, we didn't get ice cream. No. So we teach them, and then they grow up and little lies are okay. And it's not that's not the case. That is total destroyer of your integrity. So
anyway. And they lose their first job because they told a little lie and then they can't figure out why that happened, so
exactly. I want to remind our listeners that today's show page is at www.lifemasteryradio.net. Anything that we talk about on the show today, as far as links, will be posted there, especially in Jackie's blog post that will come up in the next day or so about the show, and you can check it out. I'm always amazed at her blog post. She is a prolific writer. She does it every week and comes up with some great insights on the show that we do. Sometimes I think, Jackie, like, where was I? Really?
I think that all the time too, Todd. Where was Todd? Where is he right now?
Where is he? While you're on the website, you can sign up for Jackie's newsletter. It goes out once a week, includes who's been on the show, who's coming on the show, and her blog post. You can also see my book and Jackie's book. There's a bunch of them right behind her, right there.
Back here. I don't know which way I'm at. There we go.
There you go. Both books are available on Amazon. You can grab them. Hers is on leadership.
Self-centered leadership.
Self-centered leadership. It's a cool title, and you will get great direction from reading that book. Okay, I think that's it. Sign up for the newsletter, check out the website, check out our guests. Take it away, Jackie.
Well, thank you, Todd. I think today many of our listeners are going to learn something new. I know that our guest provided me some new information when I first met her, and it was really amazingly cool. So, Sue Wilhite is her name, and she is a best-selling author, a law of attraction coach, and a certified Biofield tuning practitioner. A woman of many talents. She was working a decade in IT departments, various ones in Silicon Valley, and then she developed an ulcer. Probably not surprising. A hypnotherapist helped her ulcer to skedaddle, to vanish. And Sue decided it was time to switch gears and go back to her early fascination with alternate realities. So she found that her biggest passion is helping entrepreneurs get over their money blocks so they can have a thriving business, and leading her to the nickname of Profit Attraction Master. So she also performs Biofield tuning. This is part of her coaching program. And that is a unique non-medical therapeutic method using sound waves produced by tuning forks in the biomagnetic or biofield that surrounds the human body to induce deep, targeted relaxation. Sounds pretty amazing, doesn't it? I always thought it took a warm bath, but maybe there are other ways to get that deep relaxation. So I'm excited to learn more from Sue Wilhite today about what she does to help people she's got this program. Her program is titled really cool. Get off your butt, ditching the bitching and losing the excusing. So welcome, Sue Wilhite. Woohoo!
Oh, thank you, Jackie. And thank you, Todd. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm so excited to be here because, first of all, I love to talk. And second of all, I love to talk about biofield tuning. It's so cool. It's like, to me, the perfect blend of left and right brain stuff together, because there's parts of it that just seem so woo-woo and so out there and so bizarre to most people. And yet there's some really good physics that underlie it that can be described, talked about, mathematically demonstrated, all of these things. So I love, because I'm partially a science nerd, so I love putting these things together and going, look, it may be woo, but there's physics. And if you talk to any physicists, physics is kind of woo.
Yeah.
There's.
So how did you get into this, Sue?
Well, as you said in my intro, when I got the ulcer, I had actually rocketed to the top of my profession. I was an IT manager within 6 years of starting at the bottom as an operator, stuffing reports into cubicles. And I went straight up to IT manager, and yes, big surprise. Then there was this volcano going off in my gut. And it happened every day, all day, until I went to a doctor who did all kinds of horrible tests. I'll never forget eating barium and being spun around in a gyroscope.
Right.
Oh, man.
Right. And they diagnosed an ulcer and they gave me pills, and I had to take these pills 12 hours apart. And if I didn't take the pills 12 hours apart, if it was 12 hours and 10 minutes, Mount Vesuvius went off again.
Wow.
And so for 2 years, I was absolutely passionate. When am I taking my pill?
Yeah.
And then this hypnotherapist bless him, um, used me as a test dummy for demonstrating a whole bunch of different techniques. And by the end of the evening, my ulcer was gone. And
Wow.
it just opened up this magical doorway to alternative therapies. And I was exploring that ever since. And so I've researched various techniques. I became a hypnotherapist. I spent a year and a half doing every training I could get my hands on, learning the different hypnotherapy techniques, learning all of, how the mind works, how the brain works, all of that, getting into emotional freedom technique, which I thought was just like, oh my God, the best thing ever. Because
emotional freedom technique. Huh.
yeah, it's also known as tapping, where you tap on different acupressure points to release emotional trauma, release emotional blocks. And actually, I kind of want to rewind to when I was in IT. One of the reasons that I was so good and went to the top of my profession was because it wasn't that I was into the computers. I wanted to make people's lives easier and better. I wanted people to be able to not pour through hours of reports and putting things together and going from this program to this program to this program to get what they needed, so that they could, I wanted to put it all together in one place. I wanted to create a report or create a database for them or do a system for them so that they could get out of work earlier. They could get what they needed done earlier, and they could go off and be with their kids or play softball or do underwater basket weaving. I didn't care what it was that they were doing. I just wanted them to have a better life. So with hypnotherapy, to me, that was like, okay, now we can like really help them get a better life. EFT was another level. Oh my God, we can do this faster and better. And so it kind of went on, and I kept thinking that EFT was the cat's meow for years and years and years, until back in 2013, I ran into a sound healer named John Beaulieu, who taught me about tuning forks and sound healing with tuning forks. Now, you might know, and many of my listeners might know, that there's sound healing with bowls, right? There's the wonderful singing bowls. And believe me, I absolutely adore them. I've had multiple sound healing baths with those. Oh, gosh, I love those bowls. Yeah. But they're not portable. Right. They're not really portable. If you're going to do the whole thing, you've got about 50 to 70 pounds worth of bowls if you're doing just the brass ones, and even more if you're using the quartz-based ones, which are even heavier and bigger, and there's a lot to them. I can carry tuning forks. I can carry an entire session's worth of tuning forks in the bottom of a backpack and go on a plane, and nobody blinks an eye, and it works beautifully. And it's very direct and very targeted. So John opened me up to sound healing with tuning forks, and then I met a year later, I met Eileen McCusick, who had literally written the book Tuning the Human Biofield, and she had developed a whole different protocol with the tuning forks that cleared things out, cleared blocks out. That was, to me, the fastest and most efficient way of getting rid of what is in your way that there was.
All things. I've been fascinated. I've been watching Gray Braden's recent series and fascinated with sound and what science is finding today with resonant frequencies and the cell's ability. So obviously you experience that with your cells in your ulcer rapidly healing themselves from a resonant frequency, communicating with them and telling them to switch to a different program. Is that the way? Am I getting that right? That
is essentially what would happen in hypnotherapy. what we're doing is we're telling the body, we're suggesting to the body, we don't tell, we suggest to the body that maybe there's a different way, and maybe this particular trauma doesn't need to happen, and there's a different way of doing it. And so the cells agree or disagree, and if they agree, poof, your body, I tell people all the time, I don't do drugs. I don't need to. We have a pharmaceutical company inside of our heads. I hope you don't have sponsors.
We don't.
No, but I am a friend of Bill's, and I can tell you that life is so much better. And I can have a groovy day without chemicals.
Yes, and anybody can, because your body produces some of the most addictive drugs there are.
Yeah.
Right. And so what we're doing as complementary and alternative healers is we're allowing the body to use those natural ways of being to heal. And I'll kind of quote Dr. Andrew Weil, who I witnessed on stage saying, if I'm in an accident, if I'm in a car accident and my guts are bleeding out all over the road, I want an ambulance with Western medicine. Thank you very much.
Yeah, true.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
And once they stitch me up and once they put me back together and I'm on life support and things, go ahead, Reiki all you want.
But for the healing process.
For the healing process, to accelerate the healing process, there's a lot that can be done that hasn't quite worked its way into allopathic medicine, or what's called Western medicine.
So what is it about the resonant frequencies that bring us abundance, that bring us wealth, that bring us personal growth? Can you explain to me the mechanics behind that, or is it magical and mystical like a lot of things?
Your birthright is abundance and bounty and prosperity, and you're literally surrounded by abundance.
Yeah.
And what one of my teachers said is we spend an enormous amount of energy erecting a tent around us so that we're cut off from it.
Right. It's a block.
It's a block. And what these frequencies are doing is allowing us to sort of connect to that abundance outside of the tent, allowing the tent possibly to pick up that resonance and allow permeability of that abundance in. It's not that we are bringing it in, it's that we're removing the stuff that's getting in the way.
So it would be, I'll just paraphrase it a little bit. It would be bringing us into the vibration of the rest of the universe, allowing us then to communicate with the ether. Some scientists call it the ether, and allow for those blocks to be broken down, and then the flow, everything flows. So that the transceiver in between our ears is communicating correctly with the things that we desire, want, and have, and the feedback loop is complete. Is that, did I get it right?
Yes. Once you get into what I call alignment with that, then abundance just flows, prosperity just flows. And it can look like opportunities, it can look like people, it can look like an unexpected check. It can look like all kinds of things. The problem is that we believe that, abundance has to be in a particular way. Right.
And we're waiting for it. And we are attached to that particular thing arriving now. And why isn't it here yet?
Right. When you might know that story of, and it is unfortunately topical at the moment, of somebody being flooded out of their house, and the flood is coming and the sheriff shows up and says, you've got to evacuate, you need to get out. And the guy goes, no,
we're good. Yeah.
God will save me, we're good. And then the flooding rises higher, and a canoe comes by. Come on, get in the boat. We need to go. No. God will save me. And the flooding gets up there, and the guy's on the roof, and a helicopter comes along and says, get off the roof. Come on, your house is going to fall apart. And he's like, no, God's going to save me. And then he drowns and gets up to God. And says to God, I thought you were going to save me. And God says the sheriff, the canoe, and the helicopter weren't enough.
Yeah, that's a great teaching.
And that's the attachment that we have. It's going to happen in a particular way. And sadly, people die without ever having the abundance and the prosperity and that alignment with the bounty that is our birthright.
Yeah.
And so you work with women specifically?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
And
a few good men.
okay, if you could, man. So what are some
I
of
mean,
the blocks that are they entrepreneurial women, business women? What are some of the blocks that they experience, and how has tuning helped them?
Yeah. So they are successful women in general. They're entrepreneurs. They've gotten to a certain level. If they're working for another company, they've gotten to a certain level, and then it feels like nothing is working. They're missing opportunities, or they just can't pop to the next level. Maybe if they're working for a company, maybe it's a glass ceiling, or maybe they find that their coworkers just subtly sabotage them, or their boss is no good, all of those sort of things. And I'm going to put it out there, and some of your people, I'm sorry, might turn you off here because this is
Oh,
critical.
let her rip.
Yeah, we got good people.
Oh, good. So take this slowly and with a deep breath. What you see out in the world, the circumstances that you have out in the world, are a direct reflection of what's going on inside. So if you have sabotaging coworkers, it's your self-sabotage that is acting out in them. If you have a boss that is not supportive, it's you not being supportive of yourself. And people argue with me all the time.
As so above, so below.
Exactly. And so I see excuses all the time where people say, yeah, but I can't do that because it's too expensive. Or, I can't get this coaching, or I can't get this training, or I can't invest in this thing because it's too expensive. And what they're saying is that they're not worth it. Right? They'll say, I can't do it because nobody in my family has ever done this before. My family won't approve. And sadly, I see this a lot in women, where their spouses seem to be the issue. And what they're saying is that I don't approve, and I'm allowing my spouse to be the mouthpiece for me not approving of myself.
And this is all unconscious. So
This is all unconscious.
And it comes from prior pre-programming and us living our lives and trudging through life. And yet this is an underlying negative vibration.
Yes, exactly. And I'll talk about one, which is the money issue, because it's so big and it's huge right now. This is majorly topical. What we see in the media are people who are extremely rich acting very badly.
Yeah.
And I'll just stop it. I won't say anything about how they're acting.
There's a projection of negativity.
Yes.
Right. And it almost as if they're trying to thwart the population and push them down into this low vibration for control. And
right. Right.
I don't know any other way to describe why it is occurring.
Right. And so what ends up happening is people make a decision, either on a conscious or unconscious level, that being rich means that you have to be mean, bad, arrogant, idiots,
uncaring, greedy.
greedy, right?
Right.
When what we don't see in the media are the thousands and thousands of millionaires who are doing amazing, good, supportive things in the world. We don't see it. We just don't see it because they're doing it at a grassroots level. They're doing it in their own communities. They're supporting schools. They're supporting housing. They're doing what they can. What makes news? The bad stuff.
Well, that's just their own personal integrity and humility, right? They don't want recognition. I'm kind of the same way. Recognition. Why do I need to get recognized? I'm just doing good in the world.
You need to be recognized to counter those examples.
Yeah, I get it. I see that.
You need to be, if you are doing good in the world, you need to do a PR campaign about
Great
it.
point. That's an awesome point.
And get some of that negativity out there. So people don't want to reach for it. They don't want to be a millionaire. They don't want to go to the next level because they're afraid that it's going to instantly transform them into assholes.
Well, and there's more to that though, because it's unconscious, right? And
yes and no.
The point is to put you at that negative vibration level so that you don't climb above it. And that could very well be an unconscious projection on their part to keep people throttled down.
Yes.
So Todd brought up vibration. So that's part of the biofield tuning is something vibrationally happening. So talk a little bit about that, Sue. I know that our bodies are mostly energy. Everything is moving all the time. And that's the vibration that we each are putting off, right? Yes. So talk about these different levels of vibration. What does it mean to have low vibration? What does it mean to have high vibration? And what are you trying to align with in the biofield tuning? And how does that help you get over this feeling of,
Great question.
I want to have abundance, but I don't want to be wealthy because wealthy's bad. So how do you get people to think something different? Right. That's what I'm saying is how does this change that mindset for people?
Right. So our bodies are made up of energy. It's not that we're mostly energy. We are energy because matter and energy are the same thing. By definition, physics has done this over and over and over again. We have lots of proof on that one. So our body is energy. And in particular, because energy is a really vague term, and a lot of folks in the alternative healing community throw this out as just a word. Oh, it's low energy or it's high energy. And it's like, no, it's energy. It's electricity. There is a movement in physics right now that is gaining quite a bit of momentum called the electric universe theory. And the idea is that everything is electric. Everything is a current. And when you think about, and I'm going to get a little bit into physics here. Sorry, folks, if you're not scientists, I keep it really simple, really simple. You have molecules that are made up of atoms that are circling a nucleus. There it is. That's your standard thing. That's what we're made up of, are these molecules with atoms that are circling or moving. We don't know whether they're circling or not. We just decided they were circling. They're moving. And that movement is what's generating the electricity. And the electrical current runs through our body. And that is what creates our biofield. It's an electromagnetic field that surrounds our body roughly 3 to 4 feet in every direction in a bubble. It kind of tucks in at the head and it tucks in at the feet, but it's a bubble that we're running around in this electromagnetic field. So when you say so to somebody, oh, I feel your vibe, you are. You literally are feeling their electromagnetic energy. Now, here's the cool part. One of the ideas that has been around for millennia is thoughts are things.
Mhm.
Right.
And that was proposed before modern physics was developed. And it turns out that thoughts are things. Isn't that fun? We have these chemical reactions that are going on in our brain, in our heart, in our gut, that are our emotions that generate thoughts. And those are electrical impulses that are going along in our brain all the time. Now, do either of you have siblings?
Mhm.
I do.
Right? So let's say that one of your siblings, when you were a small child, broke something of yours that was very, very precious. Well, that's trauma enough, but it happens. We kind of get over it. But let's say that when that happened, at the time of that event, one or another of your parental units, and I say parental units because it could be a mother, a father, a granny, grandpa, auntie, uncle, somebody who was in authority, had authority in your life, came in and said, Linda, get over it. You should have broken that a long time ago.
Yeah.
Or Todd, just stop crying. And your siblings should have broken that. It was perfectly okay for them to do that. How does that have you feel? What's that feeling?
For me, that actually happens. I mean, it is a kid.
Well, you're throttling an emotion. You're
Yes.
you're
Yeah.
teaching that person to withdraw that emotion and not express their own personal feelings.
Right?
And that it's
Same
not
thing.
worth valuing. Whatever that
Not
was, it's not
valued
worth
And
valuing.
betraying
Yeah. Your
Betrayal.
emotions are
and
not worth
betrayal.
Yeah.
Because not only did the sibling break your thing, which is a betrayal,
Right.
but the parental unit approved.
Right.
So now you have a very strong emotional reaction accompanied by some pretty hard thoughts that you're not worth it, that it's not okay, that you're not valued by that parental unit. And that gets written to your biofield. And
Fascinating.
it stays there.
Mhm. Until you
And
clear it.
now that vibration is influencing the entire field.
Mm.
Then something else happens, reinforces it. Something else happens, reinforces it. So now you've got essentially this filter that says, I'm going to be betrayed, nobody is going to support me, and I can't trust anybody.
Right.
Guess what happens in life? Those experiences are just going to keep going. This is where biofield tuning comes in, where we use tuning forks. This is one of the forks that I started out using. And if it's okay with you, I'm going to ring it. It's not going to sound terribly good over the speakers, I'll just warn you. No matter what mic I use, there's going to be distortion. But and I use a hockey puck to strike it.
Yeah, it fades shortly after you ring it.
Yeah. So I put this fork, there's a whole protocol that determines where I'm putting it, but I would put this fork into the biofield and hold it until that little cluster fades away.
So you find the cluster first?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
So you're basically finding the damage that's occurred, that has occurred in the biofield. Then you
Yes.
ring the fork. I don't know if that's what you call it.
Yes.
And then you hold that amongst that area, and it clears that.
And it
wow.
untangles that energy that
Yeah.
has been warped. And when that happens, Now that energy that's been held in this non-useful pattern now gets released, and that thought, belief, emotion goes away. That's the first cool thing. The second cool thing, you didn't even need to know what that was.
Yeah, it's true.
There is nothing that you have to remember. There's nothing you have to recall. There's nothing you have to live through. It's just me going, oh, look, there's a kerfluffle. All right. Hold the fork in it, hold the fork in it, hold the fork in it. I might have to strike it a few times. You know, I might need
So
to
what
bring
does
it.
it feel like for you when you find that kerfluffle? What is that? How do you do that?
I'm moving the fork slowly through the field, and it feels like it just stops. Runs up against something. Some folks, some practitioners feel a heat wave, some feel cold. I just feel it as like running into jello where it had been air.
Interesting.
And people have experienced doubling and tripling of their salary.
Yeah.
People have experienced a release of emotions and thoughts that they'd had for years and years and years. I've had people go, wow, you know, I knew that this event happened, but I don't remember how I felt about it.
Is it instantaneous, Sue?
Yes.
Is it take
Yes.
boom,
Boom.
boom?
Wow.
Cool.
Now, can you do this only in person, or can it be done virtually?
I can do it remote. I've been doing it remote ever since the pandemic started. The creator of this technique, Eileen McCusick, was actually very resistant. She discovered this and developed this 20 years ago. And she was very resistant to it being remote. She kept saying, nope, can't be done remote. It has to be done in person, can't be done remote. And then sometime in 2019, somebody challenged her and said, okay, Eileen, what evidence do you have? Because she's a real researcher. She's a science, she's got her master's, she's working on her PhD on this. What evidence do you have that this doesn't work remotely? None. Let's try it.
Wow.
And so she got some practitioners together and they worked through the protocol, and with a couple of adjustments, boom, it works.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I've literally done it all over the world. I've worked with clients in South Africa, in England, in Florida, in Indiana, all over.
Fascinating. Well, give us some more examples of the other types of things that this is useful for against. Did I say that right?
Or what, in other words, Todd, maybe it's what else does this heal?
So technically, I can't say that it heals any kind of medical conditions. And Eileen is really adamant that we do not use that kind of phraseology. And yet on the Biofield tuning students and practitioners group list, people are going, wow, this person had this physical issue and poof, it went away. My personal experience with physical issues was one of my early clients who came in for some emotional healing work. She had some stuff going on and she wanted to move to another level. And I did a session with her, and when we were done, she was like, wow, oh my God, I feel so much better. This is something that people say, did you change the lighting in here? And then she got off the table and blinked and took a few steps and said, I can walk. And I said, you walked in here. In fact, you walked up the steps to get into my office. You walked up a flight of stairs and came into my office, and you seem to be working just fine. And she said, no, for 16 years since her third child was born, And for the women in the audience who've been pregnant, you know that when you get pregnant toward the end of the third trimester, the tendons and ligaments start to stretch. So the pelvis can be wide enough for the baby to do its little somersault and make its way out. And because of some physical things that were going on in her life at the time, those ligaments and tendons remained stretched and didn't go back. So she has had an ongoing issue with her hips where they just pop out of alignment and she has to go to the chiropractor and get it shoved back in about every 2 weeks. And she was due for one of those. And she got off the table and her hip had spontaneously gone back in.
Wow.
I don't touch my clients. I am not doing any physical, well, I take that back. I do apply tuning forks to, if I'm in person, I apply tuning forks to certain parts of the body, but I'm not like shoving hips in. I'm not doing any.
Right.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Wow.
And she walked up and down, she goes, oh my God, my hip is back. My hips are back. My hips are back. So it's really amazing. I've had people spontaneously clear lung issues, clear headaches, all kinds of things, because our emotions really, in the biofield, really write their information into the body. It's those vibrations. And when those vibrations are strongly held of dis-ease, the body struggles with it.
Yeah.
And once you can clear that out, the body goes, oh, thank you.
Well, that's actually happened to me, Sue, as I was doing some meditation with Joe Dispenza, some of his meditation, and I've since the traffic accident more than a year ago, I've had neck issues, and I have to go to the chiropractor every 3 or so weeks to put my neck back on straight, especially. I mean, they just literally put my head back. Anyway, so I was, dealing with some of that discomfort during this meditation that I had done many times before. And I just felt the energy it made me want to kind of stretch. So I stretched that out and I literally felt my neck go back in place all on its own. And so what you're saying to me about this person's hips makes complete sense, because I've experienced that. And I know that when that energy conspires just right, and the vibration is in alignment with that.
Yes.
It changes matter, right? I mean, that's what the claim is the energy produces matter or whatever.
Energy and matter are the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just it's just a dance between them.
So my question for you then is, are we supposed to be able to feel our biofield?
Yes.
Are we supposed to be able to feel it all the time? Because I don't think I feel mine. I don't know if where it stops or where it starts or anything like that. Some people tell me that they can.
So you can. It's a practiced awareness.
I was going to say it's like riding a bicycle and understanding.
Like Exactly. It's a practiced awareness of the electrical current that is running through your body. So there's a central channel, which multiple cultures have identified. In the Hindu system, there's a chakra system. In acupuncture and qigong, there's the central channel that goes. And actually in some of the healing qigong, they talk about the circles, these giant circles, and that's our biofield. And you can absolutely feel it.
There's even
I could feel it inside. I just don't know that I can feel it, beyond.
Practiced attention.
Yeah, and also extending it.
Yes.
You can through meditation and through an awareness, you can actually send it out. It's quite fascinating.
Broadcast it, right?
Yes. Yes. And
oh my goodness.
Do that. You'll talk, you hear people talk about charisma. That's their biofield.
Well, you're a success attraction coach. So you're talking about the law of attraction, right? Which is everything vibrationally. Am I right?
Yes.
So as you're helping people tune their biofields and open those blockages, the mindset changes, then the reason that the abundance comes, if that's what they want, is because now they're attracting the right things.
They are removing the blocks to that, because the law of attraction is you ask for it. Like I give it the cafe model. You put your order in, the kitchen makes it up and attempts to give it to you.
Yeah.
But it's like if the waiter came and said, here's your filet mignon, or here's your baked Alaska, or here's, the thing that you've asked for, and you go, nope, don't want it, either consciously or unconsciously, then the waiter takes it back to the kitchen. It's not that the kitchen didn't produce, it's that you went, nope.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Or
Oh
we
my
move-
goodness, ladies, we only have about 4 minutes left. Oh, we're down to 3 minutes. Sue, I want to thank you for coming on the show today. And I certainly hope you're open to coming back, because it seems to me like we just got started with this discussion. I'm not sure where all the time went. Jackie ate it. That's what happened. No, I'm just kidding.
We were so much in tune that
That's right.
Totally. Is there a last minute parting shot that you would have for our listeners? I know just off the top of my head, go to lifemasteryradio.netter.com. Sue's link is there. Look for Jackie's blog post. There'll be many more links. Anything else, Sue?
Well, one thing that I like to end my shows with, and that is, for all of you folks out there, no one will value you as much as you do.
Yeah.
No one will value you as much as you do. So whatever value you put on yourself is what the universe is going to come up slightly short.
Yeah. If we talk to our friends like we talk to ourselves, we probably wouldn't have any friends.
We would not have any. We would be in really dire shape.
Oh, Sue, did you have fun today? Did you have a blast? I know you had a blast.
Blast, Todd. Thank
I hope
you
you
so
come back.
much.
I
Thank you,
hope
Jackie.
you come back.
You had great questions.
That's good.
Oh,
It comes from being connected.
Yes.
Jackie, any
I've learned a lot
takeaways?
from Todd. We've had marvelous guests who have, like yourself, Sue, opened my mind to whole different doors of possibility that I didn't even know were there.
Yeah.
And so
Been cool to
that's-
watch, Sue.
Yeah,
It's
that's
cool to
what it's
watch.
all about, is just being open-minded enough to, if, like you said, if you're saying to yourself, I wish I could do this, or I wish I knew how to do that. And then we have a guest on the show who tells us how to do just that. If we go, oh, that was interesting, but and we don't actually fully digest what we just learned, then we don't know that the universe has answered those questions
Yes.
for us. So
Yes. Take this as a sign, people.
yeah.
Yeah. Or a seed has been planted.
Yes.
Thanks again, Sue. That's about all we have time for today. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please tell a friend about the show, how cool it is. These two people, Jackie and Todd, they just have a blast, and they have some really cool guests and talk about some really cool things. Check out Sue's website and follow the links. Lastly, please make it a great day, because it is all about choice. Bye-bye for now.
Bye, everybody. Thanks. Sue.
Bye.